Hi, this is Jundo. Welcome to Tree Leaf. Well, they've taken my wife to surgery, and there's nothing to do now but the waiting and the sitting. And it's a time to be worried. There's a strange calm when your loved one is in surgery in a time of crisis like this, but there's also worry. Worst case scenarios come through one's head. You suddenly wonder what it would be like to be without that person you love. Our Zen practice is about allowing, letting go, being with life no matter how it goes. But to be human is to be built, to be afraid of dangers, fears. It's natural. I'm reading, rereading a wonderful book by the great teacher Jack Kornfield called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. I'm going to make sure we read it sometime down the road as part of our book club at Tree Leaf, because it's about teachers from many, many traditions, Sufi teachers, Tibetan Buddhist teachers, Zen teachers, who have been practicing 20, 30, 40, 50 years, yet find themselves at times also human, afraid, subject to anger sometimes, subject to, what it means to be a human being. This brain up here is very complex, and sometimes, even after years and years in practice, it takes over. He was saying at one lovely quote, that he's met a lot of very, very controlled and balanced teachers in the Far East, but he wonders how they would do if they were living in the suburbs with 2 kids, crazy teenagers, car payments to meet, a job that they hate. He wonders if they could be so balanced. But yet here we are. This is the world we live in. And here I am in this hospital room waiting for word from the doctor, sometimes afraid. Now I'm going to tell you, you may say to yourself, well, why am I listening to this guy? He's supposed to be a Buddhist teacher, and I thought Buddhism was about transcending fear, getting away from fear, never having to be afraid again. Why should I bother to listen to this guy? He's apparently doesn't have it right yet. Well, I wouldn't trade my fear for anything. Well, don't get me wrong. I don't wish my wife was in surgery right now, and I certainly am looking forward to a time when I can have her close by again and don't need to be so afraid. But it's human to be afraid. If we weren't afraid, we would walk off cliffs. If we weren't afraid, I think our ancestor Ugg the caveman would have never gotten out of the cave. So let me tell you something about Buddhist practice. There are those old stories of Buddhas and people who lived thousands of years ago, centuries ago, and you get the impression that once they were enlightened, they were beyond all fear, never to be fearful again. And those people might exist, people who had so escaped some of their human emotions that they didn't have to be plagued by fear again. But I think our Zen practice gives us something even better, and I want to explain that to you. Because we can have our cake and eat it too. It's good to be afraid. It's human to be afraid. And I wouldn't want to be someone who had completely escaped what it means to be human, the passions. I just don't want them to control me. I don't want to be their prisoner. And so this wonderful Buddhist practice gives us our cake and lets us eat it too. You see, even as we can sit here afraid, we can be free. We can know that there is this taste beyond all fear, beyond life, beyond death, beyond worry, completely casting ourselves off into the arms of fate, being so at one with life that we allow it all. What results is peace, non-resistance, finding that this is the one place to be, the only place to be, and it's okay. Okay, beyond okay, beyond okay, beyond okay. Even while I am, of course, afraid, both at once. And what happens is that freedom, that liberation now informs my fear, subtly changes the fear. Suddenly the fear is smaller. I don't resist the fear, it just naturally becomes smaller because of seeing things in these two ways. Certainly I'm afraid. Certainly I'm not afraid at all. Both at once. Certainly I hope life goes the way I want. Certainly I'll go the way life wants me to go. Both at once. Freedom. Our Zen practice allows us to have both, to live in this world where sometimes there is much to be afraid of, much to fear, and to know that taste where there is nothing to fear, both at once. So I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. Shall we sit with that?